Good, everybody. Everything new under the sun. What you're looking at is an infographic about the nations that recognize Israel as a nation. So, international recognition of Israel and Palestine. So, what you see here is the blue states, the blue countries. 49 of those recognize only Israel. So, you can see the blue, they recognize only Israel. Then you go in the purple, which is the overlap, and the purple locations, 115 states recognize both Israel and Palestine. And then the red ones are, of course, the mostly the Arab locations that recognize only Palestine, don't recognize Israel as a nation. And then, of course, in the center there, you can't see it anyways, but is Israel in yellow, and Israel's so tiny you can't even see it. So it's an interesting depiction of who supports Israel. And biblically speaking, in the last days, Israel, the nation of Israel, will become a burdensome stone. Now that's out of Zechariah 12. We're going to take a look at that. And all nations are going to come against Israel in the last days. And this, you could say, is somewhat of a countdown clock. Once those 49 states start dropping off and start saying, well, you know what, we're not going to support Israel anymore, or start moving into the purple, maybe the two-state solution. And Canada is one of those that, wants a two-state solution. So I don't even know if they would, I don't even know if really the politicians of Canada would be considered as recognizing only Israel. I think we recognize the Palestinian people, quote unquote, air quotes, as well. At least the politicians do. And so this is interesting. And I suggest to you that there's fewer than that. I read another article where, as it relates to a UN vote about a ceasefire, there was only 10 nations that voted directly against a ceasefire in Israel. So support for Israel is dwindling. And that's prophetically significant. Because Zechariah speaks of a time when that is the case, and no one supports Israel. And then the Lord shows his power once they are helpless and they finally recognize God and turn back to him whom they have pierced. So is the United States moving away from Israel? You'd think of the United States as one of the strongest supporters of Israel. Well, just recently they paused shipments of weapons to Israel, so Israel couldn't continue to defend itself. Here's a couple of articles. This is IsraelNationalNews.com. U.S. official confirms U.S. paused shipments of bombs to Israel last week. Senior U.S. administration says the decision was made over concerns that Israel was approaching a decision on launching a full-scale assault on Rafah, which they have now effectively gone in to. Here is Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham blocking weapons to Israel obscene. Hiroshima, Nagasaki on steroids. And of course, those are the two Japanese cities that were bombed with nuclear weapons. So he's likening it to the nuclear bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He grills Defense Secretary Austin on Biden's administration freezing of weapon shipments to Israel. And if that's not, a denial of Israel or a lack of support of Israel. I think those English words mean exactly that. Basically, you don't support Israel. You are against Israel at that point. If you're not supporting them, then you're against them. And Zechariah 12 speaks this. So let's take a look at this again. Zechariah chapter 12, and there's speak of nuclear weapons indeed here as well. So interesting that he made the comment about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because Zechariah 12 does indicate possibly that is occurring at the time this prophecy is being fulfilled. So Zechariah 12 verse 1, the burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith the Lord, which stretcheth forth from the heavens and layeth the foundation of the earth and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and against Jerusalem. In that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people, so all nations. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. So all the nations, all the people that are against Israel will be cut in pieces. Economically, maybe via famine, maybe there will be civil war, maybe the geographic area will be cut into different political areas. That's what happens when countries collapse. They split into their kind of the tribal lines, geographical areas. It says shall be cut in pieces. So that's an interesting statement. Though all the people of the earth be gathered together, all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse. Think of airplane, a tank, ship, whatever, with astonishment, and his rider, the controller, with madness. Maybe he will confuse the signals that are controlling those devices. Isn't that interesting? If there are drones heading towards Israel, will the signals get confused so that the drone or the horse, the tool that the rider's using, isn't able to fulfill its purpose? And my eyes will be on the house of Judah. I will smite every horse and horse of the people with blindness. The shocking bright light that comes from a nuclear explosion could be effectively the actual reality of this blindness. It says, in that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at the day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all nations that come against Jerusalem. And basically all nations will come against Israel and burden themselves with Israel. And the U.S. is doing exactly that by withholding weapons. It says, and I will pour upon the house of David and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplication. And they shall look upon me whom they pierced. This is when they recognize God as creator, when they're desperate, when all the nations are against Israel, and the IDF fails. The Lord himself, God, will come and save the nation of Israel, and they will see him after recognizing the Antichrist, after seeing and calling the Antichrist Messiah. They will finally recognize him whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. And Jesus was the firstborn, and he is the Son of God, right? In that day there shall be great mourning in Jerusalem, and mourning as the mourning of in the Hadadrimmon in the valley of Megiddon, or the Battle of Armageddon. That's what it's speaking of. Great mourning in the Battle of Armageddon, and it's the same thing that's happening there. And the land shall mourn. The land, why is the land mourning? Maybe because it's poisoned by nuclear weapons. Just an interesting thought there. And all the families that shall remain, and their wives apart. They're mourning basically. These last couple of verses describe basically that a lot of families are going to be torn apart. There's going to be very few families left and people left after this great battle occurs. A lot of people are going to die out of this, but they will ultimately recognize Jesus Christ as God at that time. They will mourn him whom they have pierced. So I'll leave there, guys. Thanks for watching. Is this exactly what we're seeing here? Is this really the timeline, the countdown, if you want, from 49 states, or in that UN vote, 10 states left supporting Israel? Is that really the countdown that we're looking at, and another indicator or milestone of where we are prior, coming into the Battle of Armageddon and the final battle in Zechariah 12? Could very well be. I think nuclear weapons are going to be used, folks. Be prepared. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.